Hi, and welcome to another video by Get It Done Home Repairs and Helpers. Got my two helpers with me today, going to watch me work. Okay, today we're going to be taking out the bottom countertop and the cabinets from the wall itself. First thing we're going to do though is we're going to remove the countertop from the cabinets before we take the cabinets apart. Now on the countertop itself, up underneath the bottom, there's going to be screws that actually secure the cabinet to the countertop. So let me show you underneath the bottom where they are, and we'll start taking them out. Now you can use either a drill or a cordless screwdriver, or if you don't have either, you can use just a regular screwdriver as well to remove it. So we're going to take all of the screws out, and then we're going to lift this cabinet, the countertop up and off and get rid of it, and then we'll pull these bottoms out. So let me show you where the screws are located here, and we'll get started. Okay, now as you know, we did take the doors off previously. You just take the screws out, we remove the doors and get them out of the way so that we have a little more room to work, and it makes the cabinets a little bit lighter. The screws themselves are actually right up in the bottom right here. It's in every one of the cabinets in the corner. So you see it here, and in the back over here, and so on down the line. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to take out the screws now. We'll go over to the other side and take those screws out now. Okay. Okay, we're going to continue down the line. We're going to take out the rest of these screws here, and once we have these screws out, then we'll pull the cabinet top up. So let's take the rest of them out now. Okay, and now our countertop is off, but unfortunately I'm not Hercules. I can't lift this by myself, so I'm going to have my camera girl give me a hand and get this off. So let's get this off, and then we'll come right back. Okay, now that we have the countertop off, we're going to unscrew the cabinets, and we're going to take them out one by one as well. I always like to start wherever there's a corner that's free, because if we try to take it out over here, it's going to be a real tight fit in that corner, and I don't want to do any damage to the wall or anything like that. So first thing we're going to do now is we're going to come in here and we're going to take out these screws right here. You can see a screw right here. Anything that holds the cabinet to the wall we're going to take out. And then we have screws that actually go in here through the side right here, and they're screwed into this part of the cabinet to hold it together. So there's three of these. We're going to take those three screws out, and we'll take that back one out. So now this cabinet should be loose. So let me just take out a couple of other screws here, and then we'll work on this one here to get it out. Now even though you take these screws out here, always make sure there's no screws on this side that actually pull it together as well. As I can see here, there is not. Okay, now that we have the screws out of here, now you did notice I left the screw in the back over here because I don't want this cabinet to move and do any damage to the wall itself. So let's take these cabinets out first, and then we'll work our way down this way. Now we have all the screws out. As you can see, we took it out here. It doesn't appear to be any other screws in here, but you want to take it easy. You don't want to do any damage just in case. As you can see, this was painted closed, so that's why that was a little bit tight. So we're going to take this one out. Okay, so now we have this one out. We had to stop for a second because I needed my assistant to help me lift it out. Next thing we're going to do now is we're going to take this one out. And it's going to be the same thing. This is going to have a paint line down in here. So if you want, you could take a utility knife or razor blade and cut it up in here, or you can just pull it and it'll come right out. Now, remember what I told you about that cabinet? We left it secured because we didn't want to do any damage to the wall itself. So let's take this one and just move this out. Okay, now we have the second cabinet out. You saw it was a little bit tight on the bottom because what happened is the tile was actually up onto the bottom toe kick, so we needed to break the tile loose from the tile that was on the floor. That's this piece down inside here. That's why it was a little tight. All right, next thing we're going to do now is we're going to pull this one out, and then we'll have our bank of cabinets out here, and then we'll continue in the corner taking the others out. Okay, now this one you want to be careful because you don't want to do any damage to the wall over here. So we're going to just pull it a little bit and we're going to pop it out. And we're going to stop because I just noticed here, you see the screw in the side over here? It's actually screwed into a beam right over here. All right, so we're going to take that screw out as well. Okay, that should do it. We lift it up. And the same thing, we needed to get this tile off on the bottom, but now all three cabinets are out. We're going to take the cabinets out of here, we'll clean up this area here, and then we'll continue taking out the other cabinet on this side over here. So stick around, we'll come right back. Okay, now that we have that bank of cabinets out and removed, it's out of the house. Thank you, assistant, for helping me get them out. We are now going to take out this corner cabinet right here, and the same thing, we're going to take out the 4 screws up in the corners that actually hold it in place. So let me take these screws out and we'll pop that countertop off. Okay, now that we have the 4 screws out, we're just going to give this a little bit of a hit, just like that, to break it loose, and then we'll get this out. Take this out. Okay, and the last thing we're going to do now is we're going to take out that last screw in the back here. Now remember, on the other side, there was a screw that was in the side here, but it doesn't appear to be anything in here. So let's take this out. cabinet should come out. And now the cabinet should come out. Okay. I'm looking, I don't see the other screws in here. Okay, so it's got to be just the paint on the side right here. So we're going to get a utility knife, we're going to strike it a little bit, and then we'll get it out. It was pretty tight. I thought it was going to be just because of the paint on the side right here. But when I looked in the back over here, I see there's another screw right at the very edge. So we're going to take that screw out as well.
Oh, the tiles came off.
Okay. Okay, so now we do have the cabinet out. I am going to take these tiles off because we're going to use them as a template. Now we're just going to wait for the rest of the cabinets to get here, and we'll start putting it back together. In the meantime, we're going to do some cleanup work in here, get all the debris out, and then we'll come back and we'll put it back together. Today, as you can see, our cabinets did come in. We have our new cabinets right here. Now you're probably wondering why that door is off, because I actually started taking it off and I figured I'd probably film this and I'll show you what to do so you have a better idea as well. One thing we're going to do is we're going to take the doors off the cabinets because we do have to join the cabinets together, so we need to have the cabinets a little bit lighter and we need to match it up exactly, so we need to put a clamp on it, which I'll show you. It's actually a clamp like this that we're going to use to join the two cabinets together. We put the clamp on the cabinet, squeeze it together, and it holds the cabinets together while we drill it. But we'll get into this in just a minute. So we are going to take the doors off. You're probably looking at a level here now, and you're looking at a piece of wood, and you're thinking, what is that all about? Well, what I'm going to do is on the wall itself here, these cabinets are actually 39 inches in length. We are going to have crown molding up top, and the crown molding is about 2 5/8 to 2 3/4 of an inch. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring the cabinet down on the wall about 2 inches to leave room for the crown molding to attach to the top of the cabinet and then mount up to the ceiling itself. So that's going to give us probably about a little less than 3/4 of an inch to nail the crown molding to the cabinet once it's up. So that's why you're going to see it's going to be a 2-inch gap up on the top. So we're going to bring the cabinets down. We measured down 39 inches plus the 2 inches for the molding. So we measured down 41 inches and we put a mark on the wall all the way across the wall, and then we put our level on the mark to make sure that we had the level. We put it on those marks there to make sure that the cabinet line is going to be perfectly level. Now you could lift the cabinets up and try to hold them in place, but they're pretty heavy and they're a little awkward to hold up there. So what I do is I take a board like this. It's an old piece of scrap that I had laying around, and I'll bring it up into the bottom of these marks that I have right here. We'll screw this board onto the wall, and now when we take the cabinets, we lift the cabinets up, sit it up on top of the board here, and then we push it against the wall, and then I can screw the screws into it. Alright, so I already put the screws into the wood here, so we're going to line it up with the studs here. So let me get it screwed onto the studs, and then we'll come right back. Okay, so we have the screw in now. We're going to get these other screws screwed in just to hold the board. And you want to make sure that you're into that beam nice and solid. Alright, so now that the piece of wood is now mounted to the wall, so now we can set our cabinets up on top of this, and it'll be fairly sturdy while we mount it up on the wall. Alright, so now that we have our board mounted, we take our level, put our level on top, and make sure that it's level right here, which as you can see, it is. So now we're going to take our cabinets, we're going to mount them up on the top over here, and then we're going to measure where the beams are, and we're going to pre-drill the cabinet so that the screws can screw directly into the beams. So let me get this all set up, and we'll come right back. Okay, now as you can see, we have the cabinet up, we have most of the screws in. We're going to put the last couple of screws in the bottom here, and then this cabinet will be done, and then we're going to move over and we're going to do the exact same thing here. We're going to lift this cabinet up, put it on this board, we're going to clamp them together, and then we'll screw it into the wall. But let me finish this off, and then we'll come back and we'll do this one here as well. Okay, so that's it. This cabinet is finished. We have it on the board the way it's supposed to be, nice and level. We did take a level already, put the level on the end here, and put it against the side here to make sure everything is level and plumb, and we're going to continue with this one here. So let's put this up on here, and then we're going to clamp it together, and then we'll make sure that it goes together correctly. Okay, now the manufacturer actually gives you 4 screws to put these cabinets up, but on the back of this cabinet there's actually 3 pieces of wood that go from the bottom all the way across the bottom here, on top here, and down on the other side. All right, so that's why I elected to put in 6 screws to hold this on, because as you can see, it's a very long cabinet. All right, let's get the other one up in place, and we'll continue. Okay, now that we have our second cabinet mounted up on the wall, we have the 4 screws holding it in place. We are going to put 2 more in the center, just so you know, but we didn't do it yet. We actually left the screws loose on this side over here, so that we could make sure that the cabinets are even on the bottom, and the face here is perfectly even as well. So now that we have it even on the bottom here, and we have it flush right here, we put our clamps on it, clamped it together, and now we're going to drill a hole in here and in here, and we're going to screw it together with a screw such as that. It's actually tapered on the end right here, so that way it'll be countersunk into the wood and you won't even see it. All right, so let me just drill it out, and I'll show you how that goes. Now you want to drill through this piece of wood right here, but you don't want to drill all the way into this one here. So we're just going to drill partially through. Okay, now that we drilled partially through, we're going to screw the screw in. That'll join the 2 cabinets together. We are actually going to stop with the upper cabinets, because the one cabinet that was going to go up in this corner over here has got some damage done to it. So what we're going to do now is we're going to discontinue working on the upper, even though I like to get the upper cabinets done first before I put the base cabinets in. In this case we had no choice, because that's going to take about 3 weeks for me to get that replacement cabinet. So we are going to wait for doing the rest of the work on the uppers, but these are actually mounted up there and they're finished. This door is actually off, because once we get the new cabinet we have to screw them together. That's why this door is off here. But now we're going to go down to the base cabinets, and we're going to put the base cabinets in. So as you can see, we have the cabinets in here already. We're going to take these cabinets, bring them over into the corner over here. Okay, so we're going to put the base cabinets in. We're going to take the cabinets now, we're going to put them in, and then we're going to take our level and put our level on top of it to make sure that it's actually nice and level across the top, from front to back and left to right. So I am going to have my assistant help me, because these are pretty heavy. We're going to lift this in, put it in place, and then we're going to find the studs in the wall. In this case we're going to be using a stud finder. Any stud finder will do. You just want to make sure that when you put your cabinet in, that you screw it directly into a beam. So that's what we're going to do. We know there's a stud right here, and there should be one 16 inches away from it, but we're going to find out for sure, mark the wall, set the cabinet in, and then we're going to screw it in place. So let me set this in here, and then we'll come back once we screw it in. Okay, now that we laid the base units in here where we wanted them to be, we actually made sure that the floor was level with our level to make sure, which now it is. We shimmed up this one corner back over here, because this is the lower part of the floor, to make it nice and even across the top. Then we drilled a hole right inside here, and we put a shim behind it so that we didn't pull this in and bend the wood out of its shape, because the wall itself is a little bit bowed inside here. All right, so now we have these 2 screwed in here. We came down on the bottom and we put our clamps on the bottom right here. We pulled our cabinets together, and just like we did on the top units over here, we drilled a small hole in the side right here, through into here, and then we put a self-tapping screw from here into here to join the two cabinets together. So we did that on the bottom here, and we did it up here as well. I am going to put another one on this side here and this side here to make sure it stays nice and tight. Then we're going to come over here. We marked our beam on the wall here and here, and we're going to drill a small hole here and here, and then we're going to screw it in. So let me drill the holes in there, and I'll show you how it goes. We're just going to drill a small hole in the wood. Same thing right here. In the center of the beam you want to drill it. Okay, now that we drilled the hole here in the beam and here, the beam is directly behind it. Now we're going to take our screws that secure the cabinets to the wall. Now I will tell you this, most of the time cabinets come with the screws that you need, but if it doesn't come with the screws, make sure you use something with a flat head like this. It holds it in there much tighter. Alright, so what we're going to do now is we're going to take our level out of here. We do not need a shim here. You can see how tight it is. And we do not need a shim here. Maybe a very small shim right there. Alright, let's screw them in place. Okay, and now we have our cabinets are secured to the wall. We have our cabinets that are secured together here. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to bring our third cabinet in. We're going to place it in position over here. And once we have it back in position, then we're going to drill holes through here and screw it back together. So let me put this in place and then we'll come right back. Okay, so now that we have the cabinet laid back in there, we have the clamps holding it together here so that everything is flush here and everything is flush on the bottom here and on top here. So now we're going to drill this in so we can screw the cabinet faces together. Take our screw and we're going to join the cabinets together here. Okay, now we'll come around the side here. Now I am going to put another screw up inside here, but I'm not putting it in yet because I need to take these clamps off. But before I take these clamps off, I want to screw it in this way. So that's what we're going to do right now. Okay, and as you can see now, the screw head is flush with the wood, so you can't even see it. All right, so now that these are screwed together, let's put the screws in the backsplash over here, where it bolts up to the wall, and we'll be pretty much all set. So let me grab some screws. As you can see, we did drill the holes here, right into the middle of the beam. So let's put these in. Okay, all right, so that's it. One bank of cabinets down here is all done. So once we get the replacement cabinets here, then we'll come back and we'll put those back on. In the meantime, we're going to go over to the corner over here, and we're going to put that last cabinet in the corner next to the other side of the refrigerator. So stick around. All right, as always, thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.